One of our viewers asked, Dr. Paul, how do I deal with my husband's midlife crisis? Let's talk first about what a midlife crisis is, and then I'll give you 5 specific things that you can do. Apparently this midlife crisis thing is common enough that we've actually come up with a title for it, and it is. Let's define it. A midlife crisis is a transition in identity and purpose that usually occurs somewhere between the ages of about 40 up until maybe 60 or so. And it's variable for different people, obviously. This crisis is usually characterized by people coming to a realization of their own mortality, that nobody gets out of this alive. You know what, if this is the first time you're hearing it, I'm sorry to burst that little bubble for you, but it's true. We are mortal beings, meaning that this body is going to get old and die. Now, not everybody gets old, but everybody dies. When we reach a certain point in life and we come to a realization that not only is that going to happen, but also time accelerates as you get older. I don't know if you're old enough to have seen this yet, but my twin sister turned 53 last year, and I've noticed that each year transitions a little quicker than the last one did. Time accelerates as you get older. I think these things together combine to create the crisis, the realization of my own mortality and the fact that I'm approaching it at an increasing speed. Now, I don't mean this video to be a downer, so let's just acknowledge the reality of that. And this midlife crisis that occurs is often accompanied by, obviously, concerns about health, about body, about appearance, and also about influence and impact and purpose and what kind of a difference am I making here on this planet. All of these things together constitute what we would call a midlife crisis. I have to chuckle sometimes because as I look at my own process of aging and getting to that point in my life where I'm probably in the second half, something I've noticed is that although a midlife crisis is a very common occurrence, it also almost always resolves on its own. I say on its own, but we do things to kind of get it there or to accelerate the process, but it resolves. It's like it starts with this anxious realization of, oh no, is this all there is to my life? And then it resolves a few years later with, you know what? This is actually pretty darn good. That's the consistent pattern that I've seen. So hang in there. It's probably not going to last forever. The purpose of this video is how to help someone that we love, particularly a spouse who's going through a midlife crisis. If you want more information specifically designed for personally dealing with it, we did another video on that. You can click to it right up there, and that video will queue up so that you can watch it right after this one, or share it with someone else that you love. I promised you 5 specific things that you can do to help someone you love to get through this midlife crisis. Let's get into that. Tip number 1, take good care of yourself. If you're going to show up to help somebody else, you want to be in a good position. I just got off of an airplane yesterday after giving a keynote in another state. And every time I get on an airplane, I'm reminded to take care of myself. You know, the part where the oxygen masks come down and you're supposed to put that on if the cabin loses pressure. And they always say if you're traveling with someone who needs assistance, put your own mask on first and then help the person that you're dealing with. Same concept here. You take good care of yourself. If you're living in a close relationship with someone who's going through a midlife crisis, one of the best things you can do is to present them with a fully functioning, fully healthy partner. Tip number 1 is going to help you to do tip number 2. Don't take it too personally. It's easy to do if you see the person that you love, that you're in a relationship with, your spouse, your husband. going through this midlife crisis, it's really easy to jump to, oh, I'm not good enough for him. Well, yes, you are. You're the best thing that's ever happened to him. And he will probably tell you that if you ask. Don't take it too personally. This is a common thing that happens to a lot of people on the planet. And it probably has nothing to do with your adequacy as a person, as a partner, as a significant relationship in their life. Now, there's a personal and an impersonal component to everything. It's going to feel a little personal because it is you. This is your relationship. But that's where it ends. After that, it's not about you. It's about a very common process that happens to a lot of people. So try not to take it too personally. Tip number 3 has to do with communication, which is one of the most important skills you can build in a relationship. We've got other videos here on the channel that you can find in the Positive Relationships playlist about communication and how all of that works. Here's the specific tip. Practice your listening skills. This is an important time for you to connect with his point of view. Try to understand where he's coming from. He probably doesn't even fully understand where he's coming from right now. Your listening skills can help him to resolve some of these things in his own mind. Practice reflecting back to him what you understood his position to be. So as you listen for a few minutes, at some point you'll have an opportunity during a lull in the conversation to say, "So, sweetie, what you're saying is," and then give it back to him in a way that he'll be satisfied that you got it. This is not a time to debate or to argue or to come up with counterpoints to what he just said. Simply reflect back to him, to your best ability, what his position is. Push the pause button on your own need to express your own thoughts about this until you can satisfy him that you get his position, you understand it. Tip number 4 is going to help not only in this aspect of life, but pretty much everything else that you're doing. Maintain a healthy sense of humor. When we look for it, we can find the humor in almost any situation. I have some friends who are professional humorists. They're speakers who get hired because they're funny. And they have made a practice of taking even the most mundane aspects of our lives and finding what's funny about it. Find the funny. A little caution here. We have to be sensitive to those things that are not yet at a point where we could make fun of them. And you don't ever want to make fun of the person, just the problem or the thing that we're dealing with. So be sensitive to where they are with it. If they're still highly emotional about something, that's probably not the best time to crack a joke about it. But finding the humor in something can help to lighten the mood. And one way to get there is to acknowledge the universal impact that things like a midlife crisis have on people. Go to the bookstore or a library and search for humor-related books on age-related topics. You're going to find some funny stuff because people have been dealing with this for centuries. And it helps to make it a little less personal, perhaps, when we acknowledge, yeah, this is something that we all deal with as a human race. And we can step back and have a little bit of fun with it as well. This last tip, I saved for last because it's actually my favorite. Practice positivity. The way that we talk about it here on the Live on Purpose TV channel. Positivity is not just turning a blind eye to the pain or the difficulty or the challenges that life gives us. Those are real. Positivity is taking an intentional position related to what it is. Do you remember when I said earlier that usually a midlife crisis starts with this sense of anxiety or fear that this is all there is? What if all of this is rich and abundant and full and meaningful? I told you I got on a plane yesterday as I was coming home from this keynote. I sat next to a man named Harry Huffaker. You can Google him. This man is in his 80s now, and as I sat down next to this older gentleman, I had no idea that he is a world-class Hall of Fame swimmer. He shared with me some of the stories that have shaped his life up to this point. Not only was he a world-class swimmer, but he also became a professional dentist, and he lived a rich, full, abundant life. And as I was chatting with Harry about this, he said something that really stuck with me. He said, you know, life is a great adventure, and different people get there on different paths. But at the end of the day, it's really good. I hope you got some helpful ideas from that, and I bet you're thinking about someone who would probably benefit from seeing this video. Would you please click on the share button down below? It'll give you several options of how you can share this video and even others here on the channel with those people that you care about the most. Her head was down, face locked onto the phone.